o'clock. We can go ahead and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, we'll go ahead and do roll call. She's not going. Oh, just click. Let's hit the button here.
Okay, Mayor Coleman,
Present.
Councilor Vigil,
Here.
all councilors present and a quorum has been declared.
All righty, thank you. Any changes to the agenda?
No.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. Go ahead and start voting.
Councilor Jan Vigil,
Yes.
Mayor Coleman,
Yes.
the motion carried unanimously.
All righty, so we're moving on to citizen comment, and I do have one card from Cheryl Smith from the Community Resources and Housing Group. As you come up, I'll just remind you that it is a 3-minute time for your comment, and we look forward to hearing what you have to say.
Well, we are from Community Resources and Housing, and thank you guys for letting us speak. I am Cheryl Smith. I am the Residential Construction Program Manager, and we have Ty Huss, who is our Senior Construction Manager out on the site, and we have Rachel Chacon, which is our Administrative Assistant. And our main goal for coming is to thank all of you guys that supported us in our endeavors with the Tierra Azul subdivision and everything that you did. We could not have done it without you. And we would like to present a little token, a little thank you. Our whole entire team, even Westminster, has signed it. And it just says thank you for all your community support. And then it has the Tierra Azul groundbreaking date on the back.
Oh, that's awesome.
So this could be great. Council wants to come down after you have any questions or comments for a picture.
Did you have anything else to?
No,
Okay, any comments or questions? Well, we would love to come down and take a picture with you, and thank you very much for everything you're doing for our community.
thank you very much. Photo op.
Yeah, thank you. I know they love this one. The center is right there. Yeah, we're just the faces. You guys did all the work. You did all the work. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
That's all yours. I was trying to steal one that day, they didn't let me, so.
So I only had one card. So Holly, do you mind seeing if there's anybody online that also might have a comment?
Of course, if you're online and you want to speak for public comment, you'll use the raise your hand feature in the bottom of your screen. If you're on a telephone, you're gonna dial *9.
I don't see anybody. Do you?
I do not.
All right, I think we'll move on. Just making sure there's no follow-up. I assume our picture was the follow-up. All right. We're gonna move on then to ceremonial items. We have a few today. So the first one is a proclamation, Sexual Awareness Month. And I'm very blessed because Counselor Dawn Krebs is going to read that for us. Do we have anybody in the audience who's representing? You want to come on up? So what we'll do, if it works for you, is we'll do the proclamation and then anything you would like to add, that would be awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a sexual assault awareness proclamation. Throughout the city of Alamosa, Colorado, where the spirit of unity between Tucasa Inc. and San Luis Valley Behavioral Health Group prevails, in recognition of Sexual Assault Awareness Month, SAAM, we call attention to the fact that sexual violence is widespread and impacts every person in every community. Do I say Sam?
Yeah.
Okay. SAM aims to raise public awareness about sexual abuse, harassment, and assault, and educate communities about how to be involved in important prevention work. This year's SAM campaign theme, Together We Act, United We Change, emphasizes the importance of communities working together to prevent sexual abuse, assault, and harassment through education and action. This year's campaign seeks to unite communities in uplifting the voices of survivors. Ending sexual abuse, assault, and harassment requires more than an individual action. It requires an entire community working together to promote safety and well-being. Together, we have the power to build a future free from violence. All individuals feel safe, valued, and respected. Whereas over 53% of women and violence in their lifetime. Whereas key findings from the Me Too 2024 report shows roughly, am I going in and out? Sorry. Shows roughly 1 in 4 US adults or more than 68 million people harassment or assault in the past year alone. And whereas most victims, 87% of women and 80, on your mic. Okay. No worries. I got you. And whereas most victims, 87% of women and 89% of men, did not disclose their experiences to anyone, highlighting the need for improved support and accountability systems. As such, we must strive to create strong, connected communities that uplift survivor voices, take action to promote community education and awareness, and work together to change our society so it is safe and healthy for all. The Together We Act, United We Change campaign is an opportunity for our community to join with others around the world in committing to prevent sexual abuse, assault, and harassment. I encourage our community to take action to prevent sexual violence. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and each day of the year is an opportunity to create change for the future. Now, therefore, Mayor Coleman and the City Council of Alamosa do hereby proclaim April 2025 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month in the City of Alamosa.
Thank you very much. We'd love to hear from you.
So good evening, Mayor and council members. We're from Tucasa. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Our community is coming together to raise awareness and support survivors this month. So we have a few things going on. We have weekly news articles that are highlighting important information. We are getting those every week. So look out in the paper for our articles. We also have on April 8th, we're doing Adams State University's Talk the Walk at the rock behind the sub. So come and join us. We'll have some popcorn, put some messages of support. We're doing another Talk the Walk at TSJC on April 15th And this is just an opportunity where students and community members can share messages of support and prevention, especially in our college areas, where we do find that they're less likely to report, to just show them that we're here for them. We want to support them and that they can come to us even if they don't want to report. We also have our clothesline project. So we have these, it's supposed to represent the pieces of clothing for rape victims. We have them around the community, I think Spare Cake, the hospital, a couple other locations, so look out for those. A lot of community members put a lot of hard work into those. And then we have Wear Teal Day. Although it has passed, we encourage you to wear teal because teal is the color for sexual assault. And then post the pictures, tag us on social media. And then if you need teal ribbons to wear all month, call us, let us know. We can get them for you guys. We have some in your swag bags too. We have the community events calendar on our page and then in your swags. Yeah, we're working together with behavioral health and other partners this month. So shout out to everybody that's helping us out. Yeah, let's just keep working together to make our community safer and supportive for our survivors. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody have any comments online? Thank you so much. I wish it was a situation that we didn't have you here, but I'm so appreciative that we do have you here, if that makes sense. Every year that you come, I'm just very thankful, and I know it makes a big difference for our community. So we appreciate all you do. Thanks. Just kidding. All right, well, now we have the proclamation. Oh, sorry. Sorry. So we have the proclamation now for the Child Abuse Prevention Month, and we have Counselor Jamie Dominguez, who's going to share that with us.
Child Abuse Prevention Month. Whereas in federal fiscal year 2023, nearly 3.1 million children received either an investigation response or alternative response. And whereas child abuse and neglect is a serious problem affecting every segment of our community, and finding solutions requires input and action from everyone. And whereas our children are our most valuable resources and will shape the future of Colorado. And whereas child abuse can have long-term psychological, emotional, and physical effects that have lasting consequences for victims of abuse. And whereas protective factors are conditions that reduce or eliminate risk and promote the social, emotional, and developmental well-being of children. And whereas effective child abuse prevention activities succeed because of the partnerships created between child welfare professionals, education, health, community, and faith-based organizations, businesses, law enforcement agencies, and families. And whereas communities must make every effort to promote programs and activities that create strong and thriving children and families. And whereas we acknowledge that we must work together as a community to increase awareness about child abuse and contribute to promote the social and emotional well-being of children and families in a safe, stable, and nurturing environment. And whereas prevention remains the best defense for our children and families. Now, therefore, on behalf of the City of Alamosa, Mayor Ty Coleman, I do hereby proclaim April 2025 as National Child Abuse Prevention Month in the City of Alamosa and urge all citizens to recognize this month by dedicating ourselves to the task of improving the quality of life for all children and families, adopted the second day of April, 2025.
Thank you very much. Anybody have anything they want to add? Anybody online? Again, wish we didn't have to have you here, but at the same time, so appreciative. It does feel like, in the idea of child neglect and abuse, that at least it's coming out more in the open and we're hearing about it more, which is unfortunate in one way, but fortunate so that the kids can get the help they need. And so just want to thank you all because those kids are our future. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. I'm representing the Children's Advocacy Center of the San Luis Valley. My coworker, the director, couldn't be here today, but I'm representing our agency today. We don't have a lot of stuff going on for this month, but we usually do a poster contest for the children from K to 5. And so we pick winners, and so their posters will be hanged up around the valley. And then we will be having lunch and learn on April 17th. So hopefully you guys can join us.
I feel like you have some other partners up there with you. I didn't know if anyone else wanted to introduce themselves.
Yeah, thanks, Heather. Thank you, council, and thank you, Mayor Todd Coleman, for having us here today. We are very grateful at San Luis Valley Behavioral Health Group to be able to partner with the Children's Advocacy Center and Casa del Valle, and grateful for strong referral pathways that ensure that our most vulnerable, the children in our San Luis Valley, are protected and have the supports and resources that they need when they are a victim of child abuse and neglect. So again, thank you all.
Yeah, Brett Phillips from Casa del Valle. Really excited to be able to partner with everybody here. Looking forward to all the great work that we can do together in the community. We do have our trainings coming up at the end of April and the first Saturday in May. So if you're interested in volunteering with Casa del Valle, please reach out.
I see that Mayor Coleman has his hand up.
Yes, I just want to say thank you to all of you for showing up tonight. And thank you, council members, for reading the proclamations as well. I just really appreciate you looking out for our most vulnerable population. Keep up the great work, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. And I'm gonna switch phones. Don't move. One, two, three. Oh, you're welcome.
And Counselor Hensley and council, there's a big sound difference on volume from when you're talking on your microphones and our Zoom panelists. So just bear with us tonight. We'll turn it up when you guys are talking and we'll try to quickly turn it down when one of our panelists is talking.
All righty then. So now we're going to move on to We Love Our National Park Pledge. So I know we have some people in the audience. I'm going to go ahead and read the pledge. I pledge to be a responsible steward of Great Sand Dunes National Park and Preserve and Alamosa. I will follow the Care for Colorado, leave no trace principles, and encourage others to do the same. I will be prepared. I will check conditions, bring the right gear, and know my limits in the high altitude environment. I will honor the night sky. I will minimize light pollution so everyone can experience the brilliance of the stars. I will practice kindness. I will be courteous to park staff, fellow visitors, and local businesses, helping to keep Alamosa's welcoming spirit alive. I will give back. I will support local businesses, thank park employees, and participate in stewardship efforts. I will share the message. I will lead by example and inspire others to care for our public lands. I make this pledge to help protect and preserve Great Sand Dunes National Park and Preserve and all public lands for future generations. And I will go ahead and sign this. Beth, do you have something to add?
Or just gratitude. This program is in its 5th year, and the ongoing support from City Council is so appreciated and so seen. Thinking in the very first kickoff event on a very windy day in April 5 years ago to where we are now, we're very proud to be introducing the Show the Love Challenge as a new element to the We Love Our National campaign this year, and so grateful to our community leaders for leading the way in signing the pledge, and encourage everyone to take the challenge. These are based on Care for Colorado, Leave No Trace principles. We developed this in conjunction with the Great Sand Dunes National Park and Preserve as what we can do to support our national parks right now and all year. So please visit the Colorado Welcome Center, pick up a passport. You can earn rewards and take care of the places we love all at the same time. Thank you so much for your support.
I think, can we get a picture of you guys all holding and then coming down? You'll get a few steps in. This might be the last time for steps, but.
All righty, so moving on, introduction and oath of office, Frank Wirth, our new fire chief.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So Chief Wirth and Chief Stone, if you want to come on up to the front podium as they approach. Frank's first day was on Monday, so we are lucky to have this meeting this close to his start date so we can get him sworn in and make it official. We're super excited to have Frank join our team. He brings 42 years of experience in volunteer, combination departments, and career departments. And so it's a really great wealth of experience that he's bringing to us. He's currently, or most previously, because he's currently ours now, most previously served as fire captain for the Lower Allen Township Department of Public Safety, deputy team leader for the South Central Pennsylvania Task Force Type 4 Incident Management Team, and volunteer firefighter for the Lisburn Community Fire Company. Additionally, Chief Wirth is also, or was an instructor with the Harrisburg Area Community College, also in Pennsylvania. And I know as we look at our department and to continue the forward momentum that Chief Stone has created, training our volunteers and making sure that everyone is safe when they're responding to those fires is still a top priority for us. And so bringing that education background is really, really great. It's also an opportunity for me to again thank Chief Stone for everything he's done for the city and for the community. Next meeting, I think it is, you'll be getting to meet some fresh new faces from the Fire Explorer program that I think is just really adding life to our fire department. We also look at the community burnout fund, improvements to water rescue, and all the extensive training opportunities that he brought for our volunteers as well, and starting the discussions with TSC and ASU for some of the certifications. And so there's a lot of momentum, and Chief Wirth will have a really great foundation to keep moving forward. So with that, I think, Holly, will you be doing the swearing in? So as he's signing, this can also be an opportunity if council has any comments and any questions of Chief Wirth, and if he has anything he wants to add.
All right, we'll start to the left of me. Counselor Dominguez.
Welcome, Frank, to the team. You need anything, we're here for you. Chief Stone, thank you for everything you've done. And thanks to the firefighters too, who are in attendance.
All right, Counselor Behill.
Just want to say welcome to the city of Alamosa. We're excited for having a new chief, and thank you, Chief Stone, for all you did, and all the firefighters in attendance also.
Counselor Krebs.
Thank you. It's going to be a broken record up here. Welcome aboard. Welcome to the family. We're glad to see you. And the other side of the coin, Chief Stone, thank you so much for everything. And we just won't let you leave. You'll just have to be like filing or something. So thanks.
Mayor Coleman.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Hensley. Chief Wirth, welcome to our team. We're so glad to have you here. I'm looking forward to getting the opportunity to meet you. And I also want to thank Chief Stone for his professionalism and everything that he's done for the city since he's been here. And thank you to all of the fire department who's there tonight. And we really appreciate everything that you all are doing for our community. Thank you.
And I apologize, I missed your light, Counselor Carson.
I'll just echo what everybody else said. Welcome. Thank you, Chief Stone. You're getting a really awesome fire department, so good luck and Godspeed, and be nice to him, guys.
Counselor Behill.
Thank you, Counselor Hensley. Chief Wirth, welcome to the team. Thanks for stepping up. And to Chief Stone, really appreciate all your work and all that you've done, especially with the youth of our valley and getting them turned on to being a firefighter. Thank you.
And I'll go ahead and finish everything off, and I want to welcome you as well, and also thank Chief Stone. I also, with my other hat, is one of the ones that's working on doing the education side. And I will apologize. Chief Stone sent me a text message a few days ago to get together with you. And honestly, I was so busy. And when you both came up, I went, oh my gosh, I owe you a text message. So I will follow up with you tomorrow. We'll figure something out. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Frank, I didn't know if you wanted to add anything else or if you want to get away from this.
No, I'd just like to say I'm humbled and honored to serve the citizens of the city of Alamosa and also the county. And I also look forward to working with the firefighters and really appreciate their support here today. And look forward to progressing and working hard for you folks. And thank you very much for the kind words.
Awesome, thank you.
I'm going to applaud.
All right, we'll move on to consent calendar A.
I move that we approve consent calendar A.
I'll second.
All righty, I'm gonna go ahead and start the voting.
Counselor Yonbeho,
Yes.
Mayor Coleman,
Yes.
the motion carried unanimously.
Thank you. All right, so now we have presentations from outside agencies, and we have an annual update from outside funding partner, South Central Colorado Seniors.
Good evening. And thank you, Mayor Coleman and City Council members, Heather, for having me here tonight. Can you hear me okay? Okay. It's been a whole year. Wow, how quick it goes. For those of you, and I know that you know who we are and we've been here before, but for those that don't know, I just want to state that we are the Area Agency on Aging, South Central Colorado Seniors. We are not a senior center, but we are the Area Agency on Aging, and we do serve the entire San Luis Valley. For those that don't know what an Area Agency on Aging is, we are under the State Unit on Aging. We are not a government entity, but we are under the State Unit on Aging. So they are our governing entities. I do want to start off, first of all, thanking the City of Alamosa and the council for the support that you've given us each and every year, and especially last year and going into this year. It's been a really difficult time. And especially, which I'm sure we're all facing, the funding situation. A special thank you for Ty Coleman, for Mayor Coleman. And, we are continuing to move forward with what we can. Last year was a tough year for us, and as far as federal and state funding that we received, we were pretty much flat funded again for with federal funding. And then state funding, of course, we over the past 2 years, we've experienced an 8.3% decline. And this year, last week, we did talk to the State Unit on Aging, and they did get notification of our allocations, and we're down another 3%. So, and I know everybody's suffering the same way. We are trying to continue with our services. I will tell you, last year in November, unfortunately, we did have to decrease our days of service for our congregate mail sites. We have 10 mail sites around the valley. And it actually affected 8 mail sites. 2 of them serve 3 to 1 day a week. And so the other 8 went down to a 4-day week from a 5-day week. So we're hoping just to keep it there. And luckily, and I would like to say thank you to the Alamosa Senior Center, because they have picked up that Thursday and they have provided lunch for those that have been in going to the senior center and looking for that meal on Thursdays. So we really appreciate that. There are other areas, Sawatch, part of the KV heart of the KV. Anyway, they also have been doing the same for us in Saguache County. Tri-County and Monte Vista, the same. And it's Tri-County and it's coming out of their pocket. It's coming out of, it's a potluck. And so they're all taking part and inviting the community that came in to come and join them. So South Central truly appreciates what they're doing. One other thing before I forget, I just wanted to make an announcement. So on May 9th, we are having an aging conference. And this is our first time at this. We're working with the Colorado State Extension Office to get this done. And hopefully, we are putting posters up. We do have some advertising going out. So hopefully those that can attend or pass the word around, we would appreciate it. It'll be at Sky High Park and it's 9 to 2. And we'll have speakers and breakfast and lunch and all the goodies in between. So I just did want to make that announcement. So other than the change in the congregate meal sites, we're hoping come the beginning of our fiscal year, which is July 1st, that we can go back to five days a week. No promises, just because the State Unit on Aging has asked us when we budget to budget our allocations at 75%, because there's no guarantee that we'll get 100% of the draft numbers that we were given. So that's going to cut us even more. Also, some of our other services, and I just like to point this out because I know there's a lot of organizations that provide nutrition services, and nutrition is so important, and especially to the older adults. I know the homeless are out there, and some of them are older adults, and so we have to take care of them also. And but in some of our other services, especially for those that are homebound, we need those other services to continue to keep them at home. And that is our mission, is to keep our seniors at home so they don't have to go into long-term care. And some of our other services, such as homemaker services, material aid, which provides medical equipment to keep them at home and keep them mobile. We've had to cut down on those. And just a reminder that it isn't just nutrition that keeps them at home, it's all the other services together. So in regards to other services, and we're hoping that it doesn't happen to any of our homebound or our congregate meal sites, but we're now on a wait list for some of our other services. And one service we have completely spent out all of our funding, and that's homemaker services. So in March, we did stop that service altogether. And we'll see what it looks like come the beginning of the fiscal year. How it looks in the future from here on out, I don't know, nobody knows, but we just have to look at it as it is right now. We're looking at a growing aging population. The baby boomers, as they're coming in, they're coming in with a lot more medical needs. They're coming in with serious needs for services. And so keeping up with the demand and the demand long-term. As an area agency on aging, we are what we consider a one-stop shop, because we do provide all the services to keep them at home. And so we have to somehow keep the funding coming in. So therefore, we are asking the council if there's any way at all to increase our allocation. We would highly appreciate it. We're very sincerely appreciative of what we get. And you do help us ensure that we have a meal site here in Alamosa to serve our meals, and we appreciate that also. But if there's any possibility. Are there any questions?
I'll start off with Counselor Behill.
Oh, I thought you had it on.
I'm sorry. All right, we'll switch over to Counselor Dominguez.
Thank you for this report. It really shows us exactly what we're up against, you know. If we were experiencing, food insecurities across the state even before the new times that we're dealing with right now. And, you know, to community members and to people all across the county, you know, we're gonna have to stick together to figure out what this, time coming ahead of us looks like, you know, for not only for our seniors, but for our youth and our other families. You know, this was a chore to deal with when we thought we were somewhat okay. And now, you know, with some of the things coming down the pipeline, this is gonna be a chore. And I do thank you guys for what you have done and what you're continuing to do. We will have to stick together to make sure, we all could do what we can, you know, with what we can. So thank you for.
Right. And we're open to any ideas. If anybody has any ideas that, you know, that you'd like to throw out, or our door's always open, so you can always come in and visit us. One thing that I'm going to start promoting is sponsor a senior. And if anybody would like to do that, even out in the community, I am going to put it out in the valley. Anybody that wants to sponsor a senior, that'll buy them even one meal a day, a month's worth of meals. It can be ongoing. We are starting that program. And then I did want to talk about one other thing. So I know there's been some concern around, especially the community of Alamosa. So in 2022, we were luckily, well, I guess yes and no. We were given a grant through through Senate Bill 290. Through that, it was funding for the area agencies on aging specifically. And what their request was, they were hoping that we would use that for infrastructure to help increase our services, not knowing that this was all going to happen. And unfortunately, this all happened as the end of the COVID, or as end of COVID, and then all this funding issue. But so as you can see, and probably you all have seen, with that funding, we requested, we received $850,000 for, to use as we needed. So we did start building a resource center, and that's out on the west end of town. It's over by Martin Soward's office. And unfortunately, other funding that we had in place did not come through. And so we have a gap in funding. And therefore, the building sits, we are 60% complete. And so I did want to explain that to everybody, because I know there's been question out there that they know that we're struggling service-wise. And yet we have this building that's 60% complete out there. But I did want to make that explanation for those that are concerned about how we're able to do both if we're where we're at with services. And I just want everybody to know that it started at the same time. And, you know, we thought we had the funding for it and it didn't pan out. And so, but, you know, if there's any other way or anyone knows of other ways to, unfortunately, as the grants that we've applied for, there's 800 other people applying for the same grants. And that's, you know, it's tough to get those grants. And so we're working in other ways to see if we can get that building completed. But that's I just wanted to explain that to
Thank
everyone.
you. Thank you very much for the explanation. Any other comments or questions? I want to thank you. I know these are really tough times. It does feel like each year, obviously, a little bit more cuts, a little bit more of that skimping. And obviously, it doesn't help that food prices are going up at the same time. I just want to let you know how much we appreciate what you do and that trying to figure out different ways and getting creative in that. And I think we all have to do that and definitely taking seriously what you're up against. And that idea there, it also warms my heart a little bit that some, like the senior center and Tri-County and things like that, how they're all coming together also to try to help. That makes a difference too. But just thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure, sorry.
No, you're fine. It just came to me while you were speaking, so I do apologize. You had mentioned the sponsor is senior. If anyone out there wants to learn more information about being able to do that, because it sounds like a very individual thing that people can dip into their own pockets and do, how would they best get more information about that?
Okay, so for any ideas and the sponsor, the senior, just call us at South Central Colorado Seniors. Again, the Area Agency on Aging, we're not the senior center. Our number would be 719-589-4511. And we're right on the corner of 3rd and West.
All right, thank you. And then for those who have an eye on tax season, this would be considered a deduction
deduction.
or a contribution.
Yes, it would.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the information.
Okay, thank you.
All righty, moving down, we have business brought forward by city staff. And the first thing I see is development services request for fee waivers for little learners.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and members of council. So tonight I'm here to request a waiver of $34,501.25. It is for the Little Learners Early Childhood Center that the Boys and Girls Club is building next to the current Boys and Girls Center. It is a project that is probably one of the highest economic development priorities for the city. It was identified in our comp plan as a childcare need as being one of the biggest obstacles that we face in terms of economic development, in addition to housing. And the city's worked pretty tirelessly towards getting this childhood center built. We've donated our economic development director to the Capital Committee. My staff has worked on helping behind the scenes on some of the development stuff. And we've also, the city's helped them secure almost $1.5 million in community development block grant funding, both for the design of the center and for construction. So we're kind of all in. It seems a little silly at this point to do that much work and then ask them for $34,000 in fees. So we are asking that you waive them. They include not only the building department fees and our plan review fees from my division, but also from Public Works. So the TAP fees, the plan investment fees, technically also the excavation permit fees, but we don't know what they are. We won't know until the work's actually done. And so we're asking, even though it's an unknown quantity, for council to also waive that. So that is my request this evening.
Make a motion that we waive those fees.
I'll second.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and vote.
Mayor Coleman,
Yes.
Counselor Yon-Vihill,
Yes.
the motion carried unanimously.
Thank you.
Okay, we're moving on to now the first reading ordinance number 6-2025, an ordinance amending the Unified Development Code to establish form-based review standards and implementing those standards for certain multifamily uses. Ooh, that
Good
was a
evening.
mouthful.
Yeah, we like to come up with complicated titles. So this is a follow-up to the work session that we held with City Council on February 5th, where we talked about, the fun concept of how do you regulate land use development? Do you separate everything, or are there other ways of achieving compliance and, maintaining the integrity of a neighborhood, or, just asking the question. So after that work session, we, really kind of put our heads together. We looked at what we already have in our code, looked at a bunch of different other communities, And really kind of, we decided to tackle this in a two-pronged approach. So the first would be just establishing standards in general. And the idea is that in this specific discussion tonight, we are we're really just enabling one method of compliance for multifamily and established neighborhoods. But in the future, for some unknown reason, for some unknown use, if this is an appropriate tool, we can dig into the tool bag and say, okay, this is a tool that we have already built. So that's kind of the concept behind this. And one thing that I don't feel like I was very clear in the communication is that all of the other existing methods of compliance are still there. This just adds one more option for folks to, try to come up with something that is going to make sense and protects neighborhood integrity, but also helps us build some more houses. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Go ahead.
I'll make the motion that we approve ordinance 6-2025 on first reading and set the matter for second reading and public hearing on April 16th, 2025 at 7 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter may be heard.
I'll second.
All righty, we have a motion and a second. I'll go ahead and open up the voting.
Counselor Yon-Vijo,
Yes.
Mayor Coleman,
Yes.
the motion carried unanimously.
Thank
And-
you. Oh, sorry.
Mayor Pro Tem Hensley, I just want to add for the public, sometimes when it looks like a complicated issue like this and there's not much discussion, as Deacon explained, there was about an hour-long work session that council did spend on this, asking a lot of questions and discussing it type of situation. Thank you.
Thank you for letting everybody know that. Appreciate it. Okay, moving on then to first reading ordinance number 5-2025, an ordinance amending section 21-4-504E of Code Ordinances of the City of Alamosa to provide for security exceptions to the prohibition of razor wire fencing.
I think Eric came up with that title, so that one wasn't my fault. So this is more or less kind of a housekeeping amendment. So currently our land use code has this kind of nifty thing about fence height. So in general, there's certain maximums for fences, but there's a little out clause because, for example, there are certain facilities that need higher fences. Sometimes it's required by state statute or it's required by federal laws or guidelines. And so this just gives us a little bit of flexibility to accommodate those unforeseen circumstances without putting somebody through kind of the rigmarole of going through a variance, and when usually it's pretty sensible. We were recently approached with a similar situation about some barbed wire fencing, specifically for a very legitimate security concern. And, certainly the variance option is a path. And, but really, as we think about critical infrastructure such as our wastewater plant, our water treatment plant, the evidence storage, the airport, there's a lot of places that, could be vulnerable that usually need some additional security. Usually that security is required by, again, some federal regulation or a state statute. So really what this does is it gives us the ability to look at those situations and say, yeah, this is a legitimate concern, a security concern. One of the conversations we had pretty lengthy with our planning commission was, what's going to qualify as a substantiated security concern? It's a valid question. Somebody saying that their neighbor, they don't like them, that's not a substantiated security claim. But if you have the documentation from the Department of Homeland Security that says you need to secure your telecommunication facilities, that's a substantiated concern. So that's kind of where we're drawing the line. Thank you.
Any questions, comments? I just have one question. I don't foresee this, but if ever we wanted to change back, that's something, again, we could do the same method that we're doing this way.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Deacon, the way it's reading is businesses only? I mean, a residential necessarily, or is it a blanket? If it's for one, it's for everybody, and then in that case, it's a case-by-case basis?
Effectively, yeah. So we have examples where we might have a municipal well in a residential zone, and it's kind of tucked behind, where it's kind of blind to the zone. Yeah, we don't want barbed wire fences all over in our residential areas, but the way that the code was written, and currently is, if you're in the industrial zone, then yeah, there's some exceptions, or if you're in the agricultural zone, you can have barbed wire fence. And so this really removes that specific restriction and just looks at the specific site, irregardless of what the zone is.
And if it is a case-by-case basis, have you developed a process that it will go the planning commission or something like that?
So the planning commission option is always a viable option.
Okay.
Really for us, we're looking for some sort of substantiated claim. So one good example is a state statute, for example, says that counties have to provide for additional security for judges and jurors. So that's something that's laid out in state statutes. Another good example is with the FAA. They've got lots of substantial guidance on where barbed wire fences are supposed to. And so really that's what we're leaning on to substantiate something that's a legitimate security concern.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion if there's no more questions.
I'll make a motion for this ordinance 5-2025.
And set it for public hearing.
And set it for public hearing. Thank you.
Second.
I'm new here.
All right, we got a motion and a second.
Mayor Coleman,
Yes.
Counselor Vihil,
Yes.
the motion carried unanimously.
Thank you.
All righty. Now we have a presentation on Adams State University's downtown intern program.
I don't know why I sat down. So there was a very, very exciting program at ASU last semester. And our own Counselor Hensley was involved, obviously. And it was kind of an innovative internship program. So when you think about a traditional internship program, you think about these students trying to budget their time to go to class, do an internship, maybe unpaid, and still maybe work a jobs or have sports. So it's a lot to put on any person's plate. And so one of the innovative parts of this program is that it was treated like a class. So students still got paid for this internship. They still did the work of an internship, but they also got to use class time and be on campus to do a lot of the work. So in that way, just unto itself, it was a unique program. But then they wanted a specific project to work on for the first semester. And the question for the semester was how to connect our ASU students to our downtown. So it's kind of the age-old question, and we've been exploring it in Main Street Committee for several years. We've brought students in and we, grill them, why don't you like us? And they never will tell us. And so we had a whole class at ASU to help us figure it out. And they really did come up with some great ideas. And the kids were so bright and it's such good public speakers and so professional. It was the maiden voyage of this program at ASU, and I think it really went very, very well. It ended with these final presentations that were done, everybody dressed up, and afterwards they delivered us their resumes, which was the cutest thing in the whole world. They kept handing them to me, and I was sitting next to Heather, and I was like, I am not the boss. And so they were just really outgoing kids, really innovative, out-of-the-box ideas. We're going to go through them all. But I think we were all really excited that we participated in this program for an entire semester. Heather and I, and then a bunch of members of the Main Street Committee went to these classes and gave feedback to the students and talked about the city. And they had really great questions and really, really kind of powerful discussions. And we learned some really cool things. So we're going to go through that now. And I'm sorry, Holly, about not setting my presentation. And now that it's broken. I think. That is beautiful downtown Alamosa. I guess, okay, there we go. Okay, so they did a campus-wide survey, which again, they have access to students in a way that us old boring adults never ever would. They also, know how to use all the social media platforms. It was very weird because it's like they don't believe in Facebook. They don't even, I thought like Snapchat was still cool or Instagram. They're not. Like it's literally only TikTok. That's all they care about. And it's like TikTok and paper. Like they would like TikTok videos that are like 3 seconds of their attention span, or they want to be handed a brochure in person. It is the weirdest thing. They like are from the 1940s or the 2050s. That's all those students are. I kept asking embarrassing old lady questions, but it was fine and I learned a lot. So they took all the responses to the surveys they got all over campus and they distilled them down into these 5 buckets. And they don't know how to get down there because it's actually pretty far from campus to downtown. When they get downtown, or if they're thinking about going downtown, they don't even know what's down there because we're communicating in the wrong language to young people. And that also everybody closes really early. And so there's nothing really for them to do downtown. The hours don't align with these kids' schedules. And then this one was like mind-boggling for me because they don't feel safe downtown. They don't think it's bright enough. They don't think there's enough lights. And I was like, this is wild. We've been talking for 3 years about dark sky regulations and making it darker downtown. And I told them that council's really held the line on not eliminating lighting downtown and keeping our unique character and our neon lights and all the things that make downtown special. And then meanwhile, all these students are like, well, it could even be brighter. They like the areas with the string lights, obviously because they're cool, but they really did say that part of the reason they don't walk downtown or don't feel comfortable is because of the lighting situation. And then also there's no good relationship between the business and the students. There are a number of stories about they go down there and the business owners are like, why are you here? So it was very illuminating. If we can go to the next slide. Okay, they also have 5 buckets for their solutions. Scooters were number 1. I know the ever popular scooters. Social media collaboration, brochures, lighting, and mascots. Last Fridays, not to be confused with First Fridays. And a student event committee. Okay, so scooters. I will preface this with they would much rather have Uber, but no one can figure out how to get Uber here. So scooters, well, Liz is working on it, but Councilor Hensley is working on it. And so maybe we'll get Uber eventually, but for now they are willing to work on scooters. And they did reach out to a bunch of companies and try to figure out, I don't know if it's actually going anywhere, but they did try. So again, I don't think that we really realize that it's a 30-minute walk from campus to downtown. They really believe that kids were more likely to go downtown and did go downtown more when we had the bird scooters. They were very popular among the students and they really did help kids get downtown safely and quickly. So they said they'd go downtown more if they had scooters, and it kind of motivated Councilor Hensley and then our Economic Development Director, Kathy, to start reaching out to Uber again. I think they've talked to Lime, they've talked to Bird. It's fizzled a little bit since the semester ended, but nobody's giving up, and I think also the Uber conversation has started again in earnest. So hopefully this one pans out in some way. Social media collaboration. So again, students really like TikTok, and I don't even think it's a platform we're on as a city. Maybe, no, we're not on TikTok. And I think Visit Alamosa maybe is, but I don't know if it's the amount of content or the type of content that the students really want. So they talked about doing sort of a joint partnership, like working with Visit Alamosa, using students that are marketing students or students where this is their passion or their specialty. And then a lot of exciting videos that are just easy to digest quickly. And the reason that this makes this so powerful is not only is it a way to use the students to do potentially free marketing, but working with like Visit Alamosa that already has a fantastic social media campaign, but then it goes beyond the San Luis Valley. So it becomes a tool where you're also targeting tourists. You're also telling people what Alamosa really is and future students and all sorts of things for recruiting. So it really is a great thing for Alamosa in general, not just to connect what's going on downtown with the students themselves. But also we have to learn how to speak their language. They're so different. Okay. Brochures, lighting, and mascots. Again, they love paper. It's so weird. But they do believe that we could have bilingual brochures that are, exciting for the students, but really overview what is downtown. They thought if they were in the student center or easily accessible to students, that it would be something that kids could pick up or get in their welcome packets when they start the semester, and then they would actually feel more engaged in downtown. They also really want an Alamosa mascot. I think the joke at the time was that it would be Ty Coleman. But I don't know if they've moved on from that. The Grizzlies pretty awesome. And then, again, we kind of already had the lighting conversation, and it was the most mind-blowing portion of the entire class for me, because it made me really proud of council for not adopting the dark sky regulations as presented from IDA. And I had a lot of internal conflict about that we might not become part of the reserve. But at the end of the day, we serve a large population and the students are a big part of it. So the lighting thing not going as far as it could have, it really was a good thing.
Well, I think also when we fleshed that out more with them, it was not only just the lighting from a downtown, but the route that they're likely to take type of situation. And so that doesn't mean we have to blow up lights everywhere on every block between ASU and the downtown, but maybe if there are some 1 or 2 routes that make the most sense, and focus some lighting and focus on sidewalks and those types of things as well.
And our new lighting regulations, what's wonderful about them is that we have guidance on how to install new lighting so that it's brighter in the areas where we need it, but it doesn't affect our dark skies. So that's one of the great things about our new regulations. Okay, last Fridays. So Beth was part of this. She's on our Main Street committee. She attended a lot of the events. She's very open to this. She's talking to students, and everyone that was involved from the Main Street committee was very excited about this program. But I do think that maybe the vibe downtown isn't quite as young as we would hope it would be. So they did say that their operating hours don't jive with the students. Students want to do things that are late at night and everybody's closed. Last Fridays is basically a big dance party, a big themed dance party. And they said country music night. And we were all like, oh yeah, country music. And they were like, no, a theme. We'd wear a cool cowboy hat, not really country. So just they were so fun as students. And so they talked a little bit about maybe using the Pink Elephant lot, having outdoor heaters if it was in the off season, having food trucks, having a DJ, all sorts of things. So I don't know how far this is going to go, but it is a big, exciting event for students that's downtown, that gets them down there, that makes them feel welcome, but it's also their type of event. So I think they're exploring maybe takeovers of First Fridays with Beth, maybe in the off season when they're not really doing anything. I do think we've talked a little bit about weather as possibly a challenge, but I think they are still working on this idea a little bit. And it does help us think, someone says they need a dance club downtown, we know, oh, there's kids that want that. So next, please. Student Event Committee, this one goes kind of hand in hand with doing the social media campaign on TikTok and the videos, but it is kind of centered around an internship program where local merchants would have a buy-in annually, and it's relatively inexpensive, $40. So it's not very expensive, but it buys them a certain amount of the student's time, and the student helps them do some marketing and helps them target their own age demographic a little bit better, and maybe helps with their website, things like that. And it has some buy-in, I guess, from they have some skin in the game, the local businesses, because the student's being paid. And so I do believe that this one is moving forward. So I think that Visit Alamosa is looking at the internship angle. I think the city's looking at it a little bit, but really helping with sort of partially that social media thing, but also helping our businesses be a little bit more internet savvy and student savvy. And then it's so awkward to read these, but really amazing feedback from the Main Street Committee that participated, and great questions. During the presentations at the end, the really professional presentations, Main Street business owners were well, what kind of music do you want? And where do you want to go? It was very specific. But Lacey Heersink, who owned the Roots Coffee House and is a co-owner of Spare Keg, she just, do I have to read it? Should I read? No? Okay. I think everybody can read it. It's weird to read people's quotes, but they loved it and they thought it was great. I have to read it? Okay, go back. The interns in the program were exactly what we needed. Their ideas throughout the presentation. Oh, you were joking? Oh, thank God. Okay. I mean, I'll do what I'm told. Okay, again, Elizabeth, or Beth with Visit Alamosa, loved it. I think she's still collaborating with this group of kids. And, you know, just had a great time. It was a wealth of information. There's such a brain trust. Really, really great kids. And I know they're adults. I just feel really old. And the final slide is just a list of their names. And like a lot of them were international students, which was really cool too. So some of them were local, some of them are international students, but really bright set of kids. And we got to see Jolene's husband in action, and he's a heck of a professor. He did a great job. Those kids love him. Those young adults. All right, that's the end of my presentation.
So we just wanted to keep council in the loop. It really was a great partnership with Alamosa and being able to work with the young adults type of thing. But obviously we're looping in Main Street. They're going to be taking some of these ideas as well and thinking about how they can play a role in moving some of this forward. And so we didn't want to have this big effort happen and then never have you guys get the information type of thing. But we condensed it. Each one was like 30 minutes, each of these 5 buckets. So we really did condense it down.
All right, Mayor Coleman.
Yeah, I just want to thank Rachel and the interns and Counselor Hensley for all your efforts in doing that. It's good to hear the involvement that the students participated in. I just have one quick question for Counselor Hensley and her team. When you all explored the scooter opportunity, do you know what could possibly be the holdup? Is it the capital investment required, or is it making sure that you have adequate help with the scooters as far as dropping them off and charging them and picking them up?
So Kathy and I haven't given up and we're having some more conversations, but they basically said we need to have $100,000 to even start for them to consider us. We haven't given up on it by any means and still looking to see if there's any other ways to do this. Some of our students in my small business class have come up with some creative ideas. So we'll see. So it's definitely not dead. That definitely was a stumbling block that we're gonna have to get over, but we haven't even given up on that yet. And I will say on the Uber side, that is making a lot more progress. So I have some pretty exciting news on that. We'll see if it all pans out in the next week or so.
Thank you so very much. And I do like the last Friday's idea and the theme party. I think that would be great for our young students at the university. Thank you.
Counselor Vigil.
I just wanted to know what happened to the scooters that were here at one time?
So it was under an umbrella company and the person here locally who was doing it no longer wanted to do it essentially.
And then from there, Bird went bankrupt. And so they now have regrouped or reformed their organization, hence why different rules and different ways they're looking at it. But that also didn't help the whole situation after that.
So, to me, it seemed like, you know, just thinking of the $100,000 number, right? Just thinking of that number. You could buy a ton of scooters with that much money. But keep in mind that it was also run on a software program that used ArcGIS or, you know, an Esri program that was just mapped and they could shut them off in any location. So, I mean, what would it take for ASU and the city to get involved in some sort of venture and just, and I don't know if this is a good idea. I can see Heather looking at me like stop talking, but you know, I mean, something to think about. And then, you know, I know that there's liability. I used to pay $75 a month for $1 million umbrella policy, so I don't know what that would cost, you know what I mean? But if it's that important and it's that vital and we're having that big of a struggle getting Uber or any other company, then maybe ASU or the city starts looking at some sort of collaboration and getting money. It's just an idea. I know I'm not trying to throw more on our plate, but I know there'd be definite liability involved, I'm sure, from owning scooters, but I mean, is it possible? I know that cities like Denver, keep this in mind, they have checkout places where you pull up, you pay a fee, you check out a city-owned bike and you use it. And so, you know, we wouldn't be pioneering. It's something that's already done. So just something to keep in mind. And I think they pay for themselves after a while if people are using them.
So there is research, when I said there's some ideas coming up, there is some research being done. There are some challenges because if whoever decided to own these scooters get beat up pretty darn fast. And so there's a lot of repairs. So I'm not saying that the students are the only ones who can come up with ideas, but there is some major research going on right now. So we'll see what kind of comes out of it.
I think when you swipe your card on the bikes, you basically agree to a liability for the equipment, and if you damage it, you're responsible. So that's just something as well to keep in mind. You know, they're tracking your card, you're paying for it somehow, but just putting that out there. I mean, if it really is that big an issue, we should probably look at something.
All righty. Well, this was awesome. I will add, it was interesting. You can walk away as I say this. It was very interesting in the sense of things that our students don't know. So a little anecdotal, but I had my small business entrepreneurship class today, which has 35 students. And I won't get into how we got in the conversation, but it came up about disc golf. And not one of those 35 students even knew that we had a phenomenal disc golf course here. And they go, oh my God, we could be playing disc golf all this time. So here again, just another thing where not one of the 35 students knew about it. So just things that we'll always have to try to remember to share.
I think some of the ideas around TikTok and how to connect with them in their language through their means of communication can be expanded to also include these other amenities. Because I know a few years before that, working with the students, they didn't know we had a skating rink and a movie theater and, you know, and just a lot of those types of things too.
Yeah. All righty, so that was good. Let's go on now for annual water usage and water smarts presentation. And I apologize, Rachel, thank you so much for your presentation.
So you can tell we've got such a great synergy in our team when we did not coordinate our outfits. We just were twinning today. We were going to do some Austin Powers mini-me jokes, but it's too late in the day. So this is about the 4th year in a row that we've done this. And the first time we did this presentation was back in the late summer of 2018. It's one of those abysmal water years. And really the question that we were trying to answer is, are the water restrictions working? So, you know, since then, these conversations have evolved. And so, yeah. Sorry, it's pretty touchy, I think. Okay, so what's different this year? So we have enough data now where we can just start looking apples to apples. There is a rate change between 2016 and 2017, which makes it a little bit harder to tease out some of the things. So now we've got enough data where we can just like say, okay, we're not trying to, you know, compensate for other different changes. We're still seeing that annual rate increases do kind of have the impact on usage. It's most effective for commercial uses, which is actually different than the year before. So kind of interesting in that. Again, we're seeing that it doesn't matter how much it rains. It really seems that people are going to water how much they're going to water. One really big deal for me personally is our residential per capita per day usage is now under 100. And so you may remember in 2020, we adopted the water efficiency plan. And that was our goal. That was our goal 5 years ago. We were at about 115 gallons per person. So, I mean, that's a pretty good drop. So it's pretty exciting in that. And the other thing that we're seeing is as time goes on, those rate increases are becoming less of an effective driver of how much people are using. So that's everything in a nutshell. I mean, we could go through all sorts of stuff. You know, I think, you know, if you wanted to just look at the right-hand column, you can see where we were 10 years ago plus and where we are now. I mean, you know, our community is 10% larger, but we're using 10% less water or more. So that's just a really nice way to look at it. This is just another nice colorful graph just for visual folks. And oh, sorry. And yeah, you can see just our trend lines are just, you know, we are certainly starting to just continue to use less. So that's very exciting. Okay, so this is where I get to do my annual like Statistics 101. Remember, R is your correlation, like how well do these trends match? And then the R squared is how well does it predict that end result? So really what you can see is the residential usage, it comes up, it comes down a little bit. And as the rates increase, it seems like there's a pretty good correlation. So the closer you are to 1, it's a high, like as one goes up, the other goes up. If you have something like 0, there's no correlation at all. If it's -1, rates go up, usage goes down. So that's just kind of a quick way to look at it. And with all those numbers kind of in the 0.4 and 0.6, 0.7, that's just saying like there's a pretty moderate sort of correlation. Again, I love this one because it's really messy. There's really no correlation between our water usage and how much it rains. Last year, we had a banner year. Didn't really change effectively when we look at a month per month, how much people are using. Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. So this little arrow here is, I think, pretty important. So I wanted to point this out because obviously that was the pandemic, and it really does, that's just kind of an oddball that if you were to take that data point out, you have a much more sensible trend line. And so go ahead if you would. And so if we take 2020 out, it's a lot more clear of a picture. Usage is continuing to go down for commercial uses, and there's a lot stronger correlation. So in both cases, but once you pull 2020 out, because it's kind of a weird time, you can see a lot more. Again, precipitation and commercial use, precipitation doesn't matter. So that's something that is now becoming very consistent. Institutional use, so these are our largest water users in general. There's a little bit of correlation and so in this, like you think about things like Adams State or the school district, places that have lots of lawns, so you might expect to see somewhat of a correlation. So this is where we see at least some sort of a correlation, but it's still pretty weak. Again, this is just looking at our rates, and really there's again a pretty predictable rate between our rates and how much people use. So it's nice, it's all consistent. So that's how you kind of know that, wow, this is actually making sense. And with that, I'll pass it over to Beata.
In the water efficiency plan, there were 12 steps, kind of action items of what were decided on how to move forward with different water conservation programs for the city. Next slide. So here, or 9, there were 9 of them. The ones that are crossed out are ones that are done. The ones that are bolded are ones that we are actively working on. And so we'll go through those now. Some of the work done last year was we had our first Water Week of 2024. We painted some stormwater drain murals to tell people not to pour anything but water down the storm drains because they go directly to the river. And then we have been working with the Sonoran Institute for some technical assistance for stormwater guidance for the city of Alamosa and Alamosa County, kind of a combined effort. And this year, we are working on technical assistance for the creation of water conservation incentive programs, which was one of the action items. We have Water Week 2025. We made social media PR last year that we're hoping to launch this year. And then an update from Parks and Rec, Cole Park irrigation controllers should be installed soon. Water Week last year, a couple of the events that we had were the tours of the water treatment plant, some kids events at the library, a water trivia night, a Xeriscape presentation, and then a kind of a wrap-up Saturday event with a couple other organizations. In total, we had 136 people participate. The next item were the stormwater murals. And so thank you to our artists who came out. 2 of the murals are on First Street, and 2 of them are on State Avenue. This is the cover page for the Stormwater Guidance Manual that we've been working with Alamosa County and the Sonoran Institute Technical Assistance for. We should have that ready soon for review, so it'll be exciting. The Parks and Rec updates, they finished the golf course irrigation system update. The old system used between 100 and 110 acre feet of water, and the new system is using only 70. So already a large improvement. It did rain a lot last year, so it might be a little higher this year, but still wonderful. And agroengineering did a study and showed a 94% efficiency compared to 70-75. So Parks and Rec has been doing a great job. 100 to 110, and now it's down to 70 acre feet. This year's Water Week starts Monday next week. We have some of the same stuff: water trivia, water treatment plant tours, some highlighted books at the library. We partnered with the Rio Grande Headwaters to promote some of their events that are happening next week too. We will have another Master Gardener talk, and then we'll have some surveys about the incentives thanks to the technical assistance we got, and there'll be some giveaways at the water trivia as well.
All right, Counselor Krebs.
Thank you. That was you both did a really good job on your presentation, so thank you. And because Deacon knows I like statistics, so I was very happy to see that. For the water, are there any plans to do murals in the future?
Yeah, we hope to do some again this year.
Awesome.
All right, Mayor Coleman.
Deacon and Beata, wonderful presentation. Deacon, you have some of the coolest charts and color selection, my friend. Really kept me entertained and informed while I was looking at them. So great job. And Beata, the mural program that you all put on was wonderful. I think the community liked seeing those things, and I just encourage you to continue the great work.
Counselor Dominguez.
Thank you, guys. That was informative. Where could we find the dates and times for some of this stuff? Is it on the city website?
I have some PR that should be going out.
Okay. Thank you.
So we'll be doing press releases that I think council, you get all of those. We'll be putting stuff out on Facebook, all of that kind of stuff.
And Beata's way too modest, but I'm going to embarrass her here. When we adopted the water efficiency plan, I mean, it was pretty lofty, and it was like, okay, how are we going to get this done? And all of the things that you're seeing are 100% Beata's initiative and Parks and Rec, but she's the powerhouse.
Are there new goals now that you hit the ones that you set already?
There's some still not done and not yet.
So part of our comprehensive plan update, which is coming to a city near you, will include an update to our water efficiency plan as one of the components. And so that's kind of when we'll reevaluate and see what else we can be doing.
Awesome job. I echo what everyone else says. I have a hypothesis. So, oh, sorry, I didn't see you. So go ahead, Counselor Vigil. I'll
Thank
tell my
you.
hypothesis after.
Thank you, Ms. Hensley. Two things. First of all, thank you, Beata and Deacon, for all this work. I think, shoot, it's been like 7 or 8 years now. We've been talking about really buckling down on saving water and being smarter with our water usage, not only as a city, but trying to inform the public of this, because the climate is not changing, or the climate is changing. It's getting warmer and hotter and drier. With that, we have forecasts for this the next 4 or 5 months into the summertime, and we had a dry winter. We know that it's going to be drier and warmer and hotter this summer. Do we have any thoughts about the even watering days and the odd watering days for the public? Are we thinking about that for this summer? That's my first question. And then second question is more information about the incentive program What does that look like? And are you still flushing that out? Thanks.
So the first part of your question, council had already made the change to where it used to be voluntary to the days people needed to water. And I think it was 2 years ago, maybe 5 years, that we made it not voluntary. So what I did, Counselor Vihel, is just make a note that we need to make sure, because those irrigation systems are going to be turned on here pretty soon. And so we need to get that education out on what days people are supposed to be watering and that kind of stuff. So that's not voluntary anymore, but obviously we all knew when you made that change, we don't have water cops. So a lot of it is dependent upon people being honest about it and being aware of it. And then, people can always call us if they feel that someone's watering on the wrong day, and we can do some education there. And then, the second part of the goal, if you want the second question.
Yeah, I can answer that. We are done with the first 2 phases of the technical assistance, which was mainly just research about other towns. So the organization we partnered with, Water Now Project Accelerator, they went through the water incentive programs in other towns, Greeley, Evans, and Colorado, in Arizona, and New Mexico, I think, and they came up with lists of different types. And now we're kind of working through what kind of programs do we think will work well here. And during Water Week at the various events, we'll actually have a poster to have folks vote on what kind of incentives they would like to see in from the city. So.
All right, so back to my hypothesis. So I'm wondering if how many households are like mine, where we have a timer on our sprinklers. So we're set up on odd and even, like how it's supposed to be. And because the way we get our rain, it's not like California or Washington rain where it rains for days. It's kind of, you get a rain and then, you know what I mean? It's like part of the day. So we tend to, we would always sort of forget to turn the timer off. And then when we turned it off, then it wouldn't rain. And then, so I'm wondering if it's a little bit of that how many people use timers and actually take that you remember to turn them off and on.
I think that's a really great theory. I put myself in that same category. I do the same thing. Yeah, because I mean, I'm watering at 10 o'clock at night when it's cool. So, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All righty, moving on to City Clerk Municipal Court. We have a public hearing and second reading on ordinance number 4-2025, an ordinance amending section 10-197 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Alamosa to provide for alternative qualifications for security guards to carry firearms.
Okay, thank you, Council. This ordinance is going to amend the requirements. We originally amended this for security guards with ordinance 18-2024. That ordinance currently provides that companies that are providing security services are licensed, and then anyone carrying a firearms needs to be properly trained and qualified and pass a background check before being allowed to carry that firearm. To do that, we had them getting a valid concealed carry permit issued by the county sheriff or other sheriff in the state of Colorado. And then the qualifications of firearms were according to the standards of the police department within the preceding 90 days. So this ordinance is going to amend it to substitute that training and the background checks to obtain a concealed carry permit for the city. So that way there's other options, because there's other ways that they can qualify and pass that background check that doesn't require the city doing it. So it just allows that applicant to demonstrate that they've done that training and provide that to us in lieu of going through the other process and getting a concealed carry permit. So if you don't have questions, then we need a public hearing.
Yep. So is there any questions? All right, then I will go ahead and move this into a public hearing. If there's anybody out there in the audience who would like to say anything about this, come on up. And I don't see anybody, so will you make the announcement also for our people that are online?
Yes, ma'am. If you're online and you want to speak for this ordinance, you'll use the raise hand feature in the bottom of your screen. If you're on a telephone, you'll dial *9.
And I'm not seeing anybody there either. So with that being done, I would entertain a motion.
Oh, can you close the public hearing?
Oh, sorry. Public hearing is now closed.
I'm horrible at reading these. Okay, I will make a motion for the public hearing and second reading of ordinance number 4-2025 to amend section 10-197 of Code of Ordinances of the City of Alamosa to provide for alternative qualifications for security guards to carry firearms.
And that's a motion for approval, correct?
Yes, yes, it is.
Okay.
I'll second.
All righty, I have a motion and a second. Go ahead and start voting.
Mayor Coleman,
Yes.
Counselor Jan Vigil,
Yes.
the motion carried unanimously.
Awesome. So now we'll move on to resolution number 6-2025, a resolution amending the composition of all of the City of Alamosa advisory boards and committees to include a youth representative on each board and committee.
So council, as you've done appointments over the past few years, you've expressed desire to have a youth representative across your boards and committees. So currently we have 10 standing advisory boards and committees, only one of which currently designates a youth representative, and that's the Homeless Coalition. So this resolution is going to establish the addition of a youth representative position across all the boards and committees, with the exception of the Personnel Board. We did not feel that was appropriate to add a youth position there. And then it also clarifies that the youth position or the youth representative will be between the ages of 14 and 21. So this resolution is going to add a voting member to the following boards because they were created by resolution and we can do that. So Cattails Golf Course Advisory Board, Creative District Committee, the Main Street Advisory Committee, and the Tree Board. And then it's going to add a youth position for the charter created boards, but they will be a non-voting member. And so that's for Library Board, Rec Board, and the Planning Commission. And then your item after this is going to be an ordinance for HPAC to do the same thing, but that was done by ordinance, so that's why it's separate.
And just to add one little bit of clarification, the reason the positions are not voting for the ones created by charter is we'd have to take it to the voters to add a voting seat. You could take one of the existing seats and say you want it to be a youth position, but sometimes we struggle with quorum and we're worried that that could make getting quorum a little bit harder. So we're still adding a voice. They just won't be able to vote unless we take it to the voters type of situation.
I'll take this difficult one. I make a motion that we approve and pass resolution number 6-2025.
I'll second. Awesome. Go ahead and start voting. I will say I'm super excited about this. So thank you. Sorry, Ty. I'm sorry, Mayor Coleman, I missed you.
Oh, it's no worries, no worries. I know how difficult it can be sometimes. I'm really excited to see us move in this direction with having the youth on some of our advisory boards and committees, because I'm here in Washington, D.C. This weekend, surrounded with a lot of young people, and they bring such a vast a range of ideas and thoughts and to the process, and they're making a huge difference. And I'm quite sure the youth in our community, they're gonna shed some light on some things that we're not aware of, and actually help us in everything that we're moving forward with in the community. So I'm really excited about this.
Thank you very much. One more vote.
Counselor Jan Vigil,
Yes.
Mayor Coleman,
Yes.
the motion carried unanimously.
All righty, so moving on, we have our first reading ordinance number 9-2025, an ordinance amending the composition of the Historical Preservation Advisory Committee to add a voting youth representative position.
Okay, council, so similar to your resolution, this is going to add the youth representative to the HPAC committee. And it'll have to be done by ordinance because that's how we established HPAC. So if you can make a motion and set it for public hearing.
I'll make a motion that we approve the ordinance on first reading and set for public hearing on April 16th, 2025 at 7 PM or as soon thereafter as the matter may be heard.
Second.
Thank you. There we go.
Okay, Mayor Coleman,
Yes.
Councilor Jan Vigil,
As the liaison to the HPAC, this is a great idea. My vote is yes.
okay, the motion carried unanimously.
All righty, moving on to committee reports.
I have a handful because they all hit about the end of the month. The senior center met, the board is getting trained on financials, and they are busy planning upcoming events for the summer. The library board, we introduced a new board member that just joined recently, and there was actually a presentation I wanted to share with you, and it'll only take a few moments. The library was approached with a program, and Andy, help me if you need to, called Play with Purpose. And so our children's librarian took that on, and it was a way to engage with parents and children up to 35 months old. So it's the itty bitties. And kind of similar to the hippie program for the preschool youngsters, but it was engaging at a very, very young age. And the reason I'm bringing it up is A, it was very successful. It was able to connect parents and give them some tools in their toolbox to engage with their children. But also, this was kind of a national program. There was a few states involved, but it focused on a lot of preschools, and our library was the only library that this program took under its wing, and it was very successful. And they actually had people come out to it that were in charge with the Play with Purpose program to view Holly and the library and to watch it in action here. And they were very impressed with how we did it. So I just wanted to highlight the library and all the great work that they do there. Met with the DRG board. They were, they're getting ready to renew the enterprise zone, so they're working hard on that. The COG board met, and Council of Governments, and there's a new line of grant funding if needed for any municipalities. So I wanted to give a shout out to them for that. And then Alamosa Creates met, and they're very, very busy planning all the different stages of the upcoming Art Fest, as well as planning their engagement with the public to educate everyone on what Alamosa Creates wants to bring to the table for the benefit of everybody here in Alamosa. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? All right, Mayor Coleman.
Yes, I just would like to mention that the ACLC met this past Wednesday. I believe Mayor Pro Tem Hensley, you were there, and Eric chaired the meeting. And we only meet maybe once a year, but it's always productive and effective. And I just want to thank Eric and the rest of the team for all their help with that committee.
Awesome. Thank you very much. All right, if there's no others, we'll move on to staff announcements.
Okay, we just have a few, and so as Chief Dingfelder makes his way up here, I'll just make a quick reminder that this coming Monday, the 7th at 6 p.m., we do have our board appreciation dinner that I know Holly and her team have really been putting in a lot of time. And so, Holly, I think we're over 100 RSVPs, correct?
We're at about 119.
So it will be a fun night to show appreciation for our volunteers that really help focus on these targeted areas for our community. And then Chief Dingfelder?
Yep, I just have one really pretty cool announcement. Captain Spangler was accepted to the prestigious 10-week FBI National Academy. And he started this week. He started on Monday and he'll graduate on June 5th. Yeah, it's a pretty rigorous program. It's all master level classes and a lot of physical fitness. But what's kind of cool about it is it's by a nomination process only. And you know, I nominated him and he got accepted. Usually it takes 3 or 4 years to get into it, but thank goodness I had some pretty good connections in Denver FBI. And so they got him in and yeah, he just started. So and the cool thing about this is like less than 1% of law enforcement worldwide gets into this program. So it's a pretty prestige thing for him to get into. So he's enjoying it. Every time we talk to him, he's excited. He gets to see a lot of things. He's out in the DC area. So I know he was going to spend a lot of time in DC, getting to see sites on the weekends and stuff like that. So, but that's all I got. Thank you.
And then our last update is not as fun. So Harry, we'll end with Harry. Poor Harry.
Thank you. I kind of feel like you were here. Now, it really doesn't affect the city per se as far as operations, but there's a apartment complex on Pike Avenue that is having some sewer problems. A little bit of rumblings going on through Facebook. So I just want to make sure council's aware that it's a private property issue, a landlord, and a little bit of a tenant dispute as he's refusing to make the necessary repairs. Tenants obviously don't want to leave, but it's creating some health concerns. So working with Alamosa Public Health Department, they made contact using the mighty power and muscle of Rachel and her department. Rachel made a call to the owner who is actually based out of California, gave him a deadline of tomorrow to have some kind of action plan, or if not, we're gonna look at condemnation just to get them to move forward, because right now they are not showing any initiative to make the repairs, and there's some life safety issues, and certainly we're concerned as well. So we thought about, well, we could turn the water off, but then you still have some tenants that's in part of the building, so it affects them. So we're looking at all the avenues, but I think we got a pretty good game plan moving forward.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
I have a question, Harry. Does the plan include education for the residents if they have to be moved elsewhere?
We haven't made contact with the residents.
Okay, so you're just in the initial stages?
We're just kind of the authority trying to get the tenant to do the right thing and make
The landlord.
repairs. Or sorry, the landlord, yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right, thank
All right.
you.
All right, any more announcements?
That is it.
All right, council comments. Mayor Coleman.
Yes, I want to thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, for running the meeting today, and thank council and staff for all the work you all have been doing. Congratulations to Captain Spangler, and Chief, thank you for recommending him for the FBI training. I think that's going to be a major accomplishment in his life. Once he completes it, it's going to give him some additional tools and resources he needs to be even more effective in the community. So thank you for all of that.
Thank you. And Councilor Carson.
Just wanted to bring up some comments that they brought up to me this last couple weeks in regards to some of the issues we've had with homes, dilapidated homes, houses that we've had to deal with. I was told thank you from one person who's had issues with their home, and the city's been accommodating and helping them and moving forward. And we had a brief conversation on alluding to the fact that the city is doing more to try to help intercept some of these issues instead of just coming in and, having to do the worst case scenario. So I just wanted to pass that along. It was very appreciated by this person and their family who live in this home, and some other people that I've talked to who are in, money's hard to come by and they don't always have the ability to fix it. Some of them are young and have ended up in this situation where they're homeowners and really have no clue what they're doing. So I just wanted to pass that thank you along to you guys. I know it always seems like, it's always some grim news on your end, in situations like that, but these people were happy and appreciative that we haven't taken more steps and that we've been accommodating with them and helped them move forward to fixing their house and making it more livable. So just wanted to pass that on. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? I will just add, I want to thank everybody up here. Sometimes it's hard to follow this screen and we are such a team, and all of you making sure to keep an eye on it so that everybody had their voice heard. So thank you very much. And with that, this meeting is adjourned.
Good night. Thank you, everybody.